guys, and welcome to my kitchen. Okay, you know that I'm Russian, and I told you that eventually I will be throwing in Russian dishes here and there. You just can't, you can take the grill out of Russia, but you can't take Russia out of the grill. So the ultimate Russian food, and I'm telling you, you will not visit anyone's house without trying this, is the potatoes with mushrooms. We call it картошка с грибами. But super easy, super delicious. It's our way of French fries. It is the most amazing comfort food for any Russian person out there. So for that, potatoes with mushrooms, what do you think you'll need? Potatoes and mushrooms. So I've peeled in advance some potatoes. Why I keep it in the water is that they don't get brown. So if you peel the potatoes in advance, it's always a good idea to cover them fully with water until you're ready to cut them. I also have some mushrooms. In Russia, we do really get creative with mushrooms because during the summer season, there are many different mushrooms available, so you kind of, choose whatever you like better. But I mean, the white mushrooms work really great. You also need some oil, and that's just for frying them because we do fry our potatoes. And you also need some onion. Okay, so what you do is of course, you have to cut these, and I'll show you a little bit like the pieces that we cut. You mix the onion and you mix the mushrooms together, and you fry that separately in a smaller skillet. And of course, you fry the potatoes more because they take longer to fry. You fry them separate, and then you kind of add that on together, combine it, and then it's gonna make it the most amazing comfort dish. So I'm gonna cut my mushrooms. Sorry, I don't know what's wrong. Basically, you do not need to cut them super small, but because the mushrooms, as many of you guys do know, they kind of shrink as you cook them. So I just cut them in quarters. That depends on the size of your mushroom, of course. But cut them through, and they will look delicious. Again, I do love mushrooms as it is, but this dish blows anyone's mind away. Of course, another ingredients that are common sense, but I did forget to mention, is salt and pepper. That's to taste. Some houses do add different spices. You could add paprika. You could add some red pepper to add the spiciness to it. Some add like the smoky flavor, the ajika that we have. It adds a smokiness. I'll show you how that looks if you don't want to go down that road. But the plain potatoes with mushrooms, картошка с грибами, is just mushrooms, potatoes, salt, and pepper. Tastes amazing. So as you, as you slice the mushrooms, they will be looking about quarterly pieces like that. We leave them on the side. Let's leave them together with the onion because that's how they go. Now about cutting the potatoes. I showed you how I soak the potatoes in the water. That's always a great idea if you peel them in advance. There is a particular way of cutting the potatoes, and it's not cubes and it's not circles, but it is sticks. That sticks like this. Well, you'll imagine, I didn't mention that it's like a Russian French fry, so it has to look like one, right? Basically, to achieve this look, the easiest way is to take a potato, cut it in circle, and then cut the circles into sticks. As easy as 1, 2, 3, right? So what you're gonna need is a bowl, because you're gonna need to salt and pepper your potatoes. So you take the potatoes, throw them all inside the bowl. I don't know if that's going to be enough because that is my favorite food. Okay. Right. They're in the bowl. You do need the salt. Don't over salt them, but don't undersalt them. Potatoes like salt. You put the salt. You put the pepper. I just use black pepper. You could use crushed, whatever you want. And now this is the step where you could get creative. You could just leave it at salt and pepper, or you could add different flavors you like. If you like it spicy, you could spice it up with red crushed pepper. You could spice it up with a chili sauce. You could do endless possibilities. But in Russia, there is something unique. and we call this magic a jika. It looks like this, but basically it's like a smoky, spicy sauce. You do not need a lot of it. It's very concentrated. So you could find it in Russian grocery stores. I mean, pretty much only in Russian grocery stores. It's a gourmet hot sauce, but I tell you, it has a little smoky flavor, so you gotta love that. If you don't, just skip a step, leave it at salt and pepper. And I'm gonna use a little bit. I mean, you see it. It's a drop. Put that in with my potato. Another nice element that I like that it brings to my potatoes is that it brings color. I really love color in the food. So it gives it this red, barbecued look. You already see that it doesn't have enough salt. Don't be afraid to salt your potatoes. I mean, they just go very well together. You could do this with hands. You could do it with a spoon that you use to add some sort of sauce. And basically, it's gonna look like this. Again, your potatoes will look a little bit less colorful because you didn't add the sauce. I like to keep things nice, so let's keep them back in the fridge. We don't want anything to spoil. Again, you could no, now that I think about it, I saw a hot sauce in the fridge. You could use that. Absolutely. Or the red pepper that I was talking to you about is like this, your basic crushed red pepper. Okay, so we have this. And again, potatoes will take longer to cook. So you should put the potatoes first, just because, you know, it needs to come together somewhat at the same time. So I'm going to show you how it's done separately. So I have two frying pans. The smaller one will be used for mushrooms and onions. They do go together. The bigger one is for potatoes. So the bigger, add some oil to it. I use corn oil. Just a matter of a habit, but you could use whichever one you prefer. And you kind of roll the oil around. Make sure you heat the oil on the pan before you put the potatoes in, because that's how they get that nice crispy look, as if you put them on an already heated pan. So as we put that to heat, let's take the small one, same thing. Oil, you'll need a little bit less of that over here, of course. What can you do? This is not the most healthiest dish ever. And the first thing you'll do is you're not going to put the onions and the mushrooms together. You will put the onions first. So as the onions go on the frying pan, the pan goes on the stove. Again, let the onions caramelize. Don't cook them thoroughly because they also need to cook together with the mushrooms. So as soon as you see the onions are starting to get that orangey goldish color, you put the mushrooms in that same pan. It's delicious. I even love the smell of onion in my stove. So as that is cooking, we have the mushrooms ready. Again, this is a great idea to have everything ready just because you put it all together at the same time. And we have the potatoes ready. Potatoes are waiting for the pan to heat up. What I like to do at the end of the recipe is to give you guys a little recap. So the recap was potatoes with mushrooms, Russian style, картошечка с грибами. Unbelievably best. So anyways, we had one diced onion, we had actual mushrooms, you could choose whichever. I used the white, and we had potatoes. For one diced onion, I used about 3 medium-sized potatoes. So you know the measurements. Basically, we diced the mushroom, we diced the onion, we diced the mushrooms in quarters. We put that separately. We cut the potato, but we did cut it in sticks. It is a Russian French fries after all, right? So basically, if you peel the potatoes first, you keep it in water. Basically, you got one large pan for the frying of potatoes. You did that separately, right? And then you put the onion first in a little pan, and you kind of let it color. You didn't let it cook until the end, but you let it color a little bit. You added the mushrooms. mushrooms went together with the onion, gave it awesome little juice. You made it cook until it was ready to eat. And then 5 minutes before the potatoes were done frying and were looking gold and nice, you added the combination of mushrooms and onion to the pan of the potatoes. You kept it on the stove for about 5 more minutes on a very low heat with a cover. Because before that, when you were frying, you were not covering anything. The oil was just flying everywhere. But anyways, and this is the creation. I need to lower the screen because it's really hard. I tell you, to die for. Mushrooms with onion. I have a little smoked flavor of ajinka in here. Potatoes. God, I would eat this every day. Ultimate Russian food, картошечка с грибами. I really hope you guys enjoyed it.